Hello viewers, here is an AeonAir, or whatever that is, dehumidifier. This was given to me by a friend. I guess it belonged to one of his relatives, and it broke. Surprise! And he said he doesn't really want it back, but he wants me to try to find something else. It was kind of confusing to me, so I don't really know what he wants. But I fix things, so that's what I'm going to try to do. If nothing else, it'll be a high yield video because it's a cheap modern piece of junk, and so therefore it gets a lot of views. Whereas if you were, spend hours and hours working on something old and actually worth the time of day, it doesn't get any views, which I don't understand that, but that's just the way it is. Regardless, I have no idea what this brand is. Never heard of it before. No idea who makes it. Could just be some random Chinese company. Is Energy Star. Pretty much anything with that logo on it is a piece of junk. Interestingly enough, the unit is filled with, or was filled with at some point, refrigerant 134A, which is a very good low pressure refrigerant. Typically when I have these come in, it's almost 100% of the time a leaked refrigerant situation, but I would not necessarily jump to that conclusion with a 134 system. It is a dirty pints unit, and I'm not sure if that's the old standard or the new standard. I guess it was made in probably 2001 or 2014. I'm going to say probably 2014. It looks pretty recent to me. Now, adding to the confusion, the cord is cut off, but it was preserved and kept with the machine, which doesn't make any sense. So, I guess the first thing that we have to do is open it up to reattach the cord, and then we can try to power it on and see what the deal is, because I don't know. I have no idea what the failure mode is because it wasn't described to me. So we're just kind of starting from scratch here, which is fine. But there's not much we can do without the cord. And there's not enough slack there to reattach it just from the outside. Oh, the screws are all different sizes. I don't like this thing already. There's no reason for the screws to be different sizes. That's ludicrous. Seriously. Okay. We have a schematic on the inside. which of course is useless if it doesn't work. I don't see any blaring obvious signs of catastrophic failure on the surface here. Capacitor's not bloated or anything crazy. The compressor looks fine. I don't see any oil anywhere. New Widetech, made in China. Ooh. It's a rotary compressor, of course, and okay, new something technology, new Widetech technology. I've never heard that brand before either. Everything looks pretty copacetic in here. Try to split the front off too, see if we can take a look at the coil, because that might give us some clues as to what's wrong. What's holding this on now? Where's the filter at? Well, the filter's fairly clean, so that's not. I think it's going to be an airflow induced failure. It's definitely got some hours on it. It's got a lot of hours on it. But it's not plugged. There's definitely some rust, but it's not anything like too crazy. Yuck. Oh, all that is mouth, but there is rust, you know, but it's not wild. On this side there's not rust. That's interesting. That's kind of gross. Well, let's attach the cord and see what happens. It really doesn't look like there's any kind of obvious failure on here. I don't see any oil spots. Maybe some oil on there. Could just be grimy. I don't know. There's not anything immediately obviously wrong with it. No, that's not slimy there. I don't know. I just want to turn it on and see what happens. I think we'll probably just go into this terminal box and try to reattach it somehow. A very strange case so far. This is not meant to open up, is it? Back in the old days, this would just come right off. Wouldn't be this difficult. Can't be too reckless here, because there's probably a PC board in this thing. Oh, I missed the screw. That was a little dumb. Nothing looks crazy in the control box here, unless we've had an electronics control failure, which would not be the first. Alright, here's our lead wires. Just go right to the source here and snip that off and redo it. This might be 2001 because, I don't know, I guess appliances like this didn't really have fuse plugs. I'll say by 2014 we were into the fuse plug era, but something like this might not have a fuse plug. I don't know. It wouldn't, no, not a fuse plug, one of those GFI plugs. The newer ones usually have those. Come on, bro. Okay, let's reattach. Is around this compressor in case there is something electrically wrong here. Okay, so now let's see what the heck is the problem. Okay, it's doing something. It says 7549. I don't know what that means. I'll just lower it all the way so it calls for something. Defrost is not on, and the air light's not on, so probably has a 3-minute compressor delay. I suspect in about 3 minutes something should happen here. Bad capacitor. That's all. This will be an easy fix. Alright, let's check out this capacitor. This will be kind of funny if that's all it is, because this will be the 3rd time that guy's had something with a bad cap. First it was the refrigerator, then it was the air conditioner, and now it might be this. This is a 35. You might get lucky. I probably have one of these on hand. It's a common size for the old stuff anyways. It's not even labeled. What a trash capacitor. It's not even labeled. How the heck you tell which is which then? Well, we're going to bend down the terminal on the white one then. So this is a plant oil 30, meaning 30 plus 5 capacitor. And because it doesn't have PCBs or anything toxic in there, it's probably a piece of junk and has already broken. So let's get out the meter and we'll check it and see what we got here. Microfarads. Oh, we got 30. Okay, maybe I'm jumping to conclusions here. We got 30 and we got 30. So then how the heck does it become a 30 plus? Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense, because it's 30. Oh, it's not plus 5. It's a 30 with a variance of 5%. Okay, that makes more sense now. Well, kind of, because, and what the heck? Don't tell me the fan runs off of a 32. Does it really? No, that's this compressor. This, I don't know. That's kind of weird. So this is reading okay. That's giving me 30.7, and that's giving me 30.7. So, well, of course, because it's the same terminal. I don't know. Maybe the capacitor isn't bad. Maybe it's seized up or something. That would be really bizarre. Let's just try another cap just for the sake of curiosity. Because sometimes the meter readings are not 100%. Because when it goes under load, it might end up being less. Alright, we got a 30 microfarads here. This is Japan, not China. Let's just check this right quick to make sure it's good, because it's not what was supposed to be in that box. So who knows if this is correct or not. 31. So this is good. So let's just try this for the sake of curiosity. Let's put this on here. And if this doesn't work, then we can do a try a hard start. And if that don't work, then it goes in the trash, because it ain't worth no more time than that. But if we can get it to run with a couple dollars of parts, why not? That's 50% money. we gotta be spending all this money all the time anymore. We can't afford anything. It's ridiculous. Okay, let's turn the thing back on. Okay, we're going to take a short break from the video to add some commentary because I'm playing back the video now as I edit it, and I just heard that startup for the first time, and that is shocking to me. I had gone upstairs to do something in the kitchen for a minute after I turned this on because it has a stupid 3-minute delay between the time that you turn the unit on and when it will actually call for the compressor to initialize and run. And I wasn't going to just sit there and stare at this piece of junk for 3 minutes. So I went upstairs and did something in the kitchen. I went back downstairs in approximately 3 minutes. And I had gone down just a little bit over 3 minutes, so I didn't hear this in person. That is appalling to me. And I'm not sure why it's like that. My speculation would be lack of lubrication. Right, so all the oil, because normally when the refrigerant is going through the system, I forget what that piece is called, but the piece inside of the that does the compression will be pumping oil through with the refrigerant, so it stays lubricated. The vein stays lubricated. That circular piece, whatever the heck it's called, stays lubricated, and then of course there's oil in the bottom of the compressor that gets pumped up and oil the mechanisms on the outside of the actual compression chamber. And so I guess what happened here is the oil from the refrigerant wasn't going through, and so that circular compression piece was just really stiff. And I guess the vein was probably what was making that awful sound as it was colliding with the circular piece with no oil film in there. So that's abysmal. And this just goes to show how dangerous these things are. Prior or after the taping here, I discovered it's a recalled model. And if I had gotten it to the point where it was going to work, I was going to talk about in the video how we got to check it to make sure that it's not a recall model before we do anything further with it, because if it's a recall model, then there's no point in running it, obviously. It is a recall model, one of, I don't know, some odd 20-something million units that have been recalled in the last 2 decades. These things are just garbage. Of all the refrigeration appliances built today, which I don't think very highly of any of them, the dehumidifiers are by far and consistently the absolute worst. They're dangerous and they don't last. I refuse to run these plastic dehumidifiers unattended because, like in this case, for instance, you have a compressor which is sitting in a stalled state. You have a capacitor that's just cheap junk. You have an overload that's as cheap and unreliable as the rest of the equipment. And you have a scalding hot compressor in the center of a piece of plastic. It's a recipe for disaster. These stupid dehumidifiers, these cheesy plastic units that they sell today, are absolutely terrifying. These are scary pieces of equipment, and I think that not enough of them are recalled. I think almost every single model should be recalled because they use these cheap Chinese compressors, they use these cheap Chinese capacitors, cheap electronic controls, cheap overloads, and none of it's reliable, none of it's built to a reasonable spec, and it just stinks. It's garbage. It doesn't even work right. It works for what, 2 or 3 years and it quits? These things don't even last 5 years anymore. They're garbage. They're not worth using. They're not worth buying. They're just garbage, not this junk, absolute junk. Don't use them. Don't deal with them. If you have one, throw it out and buy an old one. You know, get an old one at a tag sale or Facebook Marketplace or whatever, an old metal one, because those never caught on fire and they last decades and decades and decades. And you're going to see at the end of this video an old unit start up from 1996 and just keep running. It's been running for over 25 years and it works perfectly. Never eaten apart, never needed service, nothing. The old ones, like most everything else, were so much better, and these are abysmal, dangerous garbage. I don't know how long it's been running. I went upstairs for a minute, but I saw the lights flick, so I knew it came on properly. It's not cold yet, but I don't know, maybe it just came on. It's pulling 2.3 amps right now. That's a bit low. Should be going up if it's building head pressure. So maybe we got a leak. Might be a dual failure. Yeah, well, just a hair cold, but nothing much. I'm not sure we got any gas in there. Let's see, we'll turn it off and see if we hear any gas. I'm going to go with no. Yep, no gas in there. Alright, so this is totaled. We got no gas, and we got a bad capacitor. I don't know where the leak is. It's probably somewhere down in this area. Looks like there might be something suspicious Right there, you see that shiny part in the middle of the screen? I can't quite tell if that's oil or what that is, but that might be something there. This is too new to be worth fixing. You know, it can be fixed, but it's not worth the time to go through and try to patch a coil up and everything. So yeah, that's it. Take the fan out, maybe save the compressor. I don't know. The compressor has been running for who knows how long without gas in it, so that compressor probably is shot, you know, overheating or whatever. So most likely we'll just pull the fan, get a little bit of scrap copper out of it, and that'll be the end of it. Maybe keep the casters; those seem decent still. So it's just, these are abysmal. This is a common, very common. These modern dehumidifiers are just absolute trash. Out of all the modern appliances we have, for whatever reason, dehumidifiers are just landslides worse than everything else. Worse than refrigerators, worse than air conditioners, worse than fans, worse than central systems. They're just trash. And I don't know why, because it's all the same thing. It's the same concept, but for whatever reason, these are junk. Albeit it looks like it ran quite a few hours before it caved in, but you know, this should be lasting decades. These things used to last 50, 60, 70 years, and now you're lucky you get 5 years out of them. Garbage. Abysmal garbage. Meanwhile, we have this one, which was made in 1996, and it just works. It works decade after decade.